Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another edition of Lovin Daily. I'm your host, Chris Perugine, today joined by JP. How are you feeling, JP?
I'm doing good, how are you?
Good. Finally got a haircut yesterday. It's a bit dodgy, but anyway. So, these are the headlines for today. Malta is discussing whether to launch domestic vaccine passports. A 274 million contract by the government was found to have broken the law. Police have fined a couple in Golden Bay for keeping masks on their chins while drinking. An ex-policeman was arrested over Daphne Caruana Galizia investigation leaks. And the planning authority has brought down a makeshift shrine at top of the world. So, Jay, you want to start with the vaccine passport story?
Absolutely. Just before we begin, just to let you know, we have an interview with former junior Eurovision singer and star Gaia Cauchi at the end of this, so make sure to stick around for that. So, the first story is concerning a launch of perhaps a domestic vaccine passport scheme. Tourism Minister Clayton Bartow responded to questions asked by Lovin Daily yesterday that the ministry, along with health authorities, are discussing the potential of introducing a vaccine passport system which would give people certain rights to maybe like going to restaurants, gyms, maybe even small-scale events, who knows, when they've been vaccinated against COVID-19. So, the premise of this really works on the fact that there will be an app that shows that you've been vaccinated or that you've tested negative 72 hours before, or that you've had contracted COVID-19 within 2 to 12 weeks prior. And in doing so, this would allow you to attend certain areas or be given certain rights. And Malta is following suit from other countries like Israel and Denmark, which have recently rolled out this kind of vaccine pass, which allows people to, go to certain establishments. While this wasn't something that was discussed in the past, Tourism Minister Clayton Bartow did confirm that there are currently discussions in the works to see this potentially happen in Malta, which I think would be a great thing, especially over the summer period when we have a lot of tourists here. We hope to have some events, some activities happening, and most things to be open. I think having a vaccine passport, a domestic vaccine passport, would be really beneficial to helping control the pandemic. It was something that was proposed actually by the Malta Entertainment and Art Association last February to allow small-scale events to return, but I think it's definitely something that needs to be done. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I think the fact that we are getting vaccinated so quickly makes this sort of more acceptable, right? In the sense that I would have been a bit more concerned about it if young people are going to take another 6 months or so to get vaccinated. I think things are moving pretty fast, so yeah, let's hope that works out. We'll move on to the next story. A really shocking story here about a deal worth 300 million euros taxpayer money given to two businesses without really a competitive process, right? So this is a direct order that emanated from a tender, but exploded in terms of its value on 274 million euros, and the National Audit Office has found this deal to have gone against the law. Just to put it into perspective, this was for the provision of 500 beds for the elderly, and the catering for these beds as well. But to put it into perspective, in the private sector it costs about 51 euros a day to fund these beds. With this deal, Malta is paying 118 euros per bed per day. So this is really shocking stuff. We'll wait to see whether there'll be any political responsibility held about it. The audit office singled out Justine Caruana and Anthony Ajus de Celis as government members who didn't rescind this deal immediately, as soon as they got wind of it. This deal didn't seem to have made it to cabinet in terms of it being discussed by cabinet. And just to be clear, this was a St. Vincent de Paul deal, right, which originated as the provision of some beds, but then became a kitchen, and then became the catering for 500 beds. And this was to James Caterers and DB Group. This is a 177-page report that really shows, things weren't done well here. So we'll wait to see today whether there are any developments of what happens in this case.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, 274 million euros. Moving on to our third story of the day, and maybe one a lot of people might relate to who go to the beach, but Police fined a couple yesterday for keeping their masks on their chin while they were apparently having a couple of drinks. So a couple, were sitting on Golden Bay over the weekend, were enjoying a coffee and a juice. And as many do, when you go to the beach, they obviously had to remove their face mask, place on the chin while they were drinking their beverages. But apparently, police officers didn't see the beverages by their sides and proceeded to fine them. The whole incident was caught on video. The couple explaining how ridiculous it all appeared to them, that they were being fined for having a drink on the beach. And obviously, police have yet to respond to the allegations of the incident and what happened. But basically, what the couple were saying were it might be in a case of profiling because they were foreign, they were from Latvia. Police had asked them for their passport, so they feel like there might have been some discrimination there and that they were specifically targeted in this incident. But more importantly than that, I think it raises this issue of the ridiculousness of having to wear your face mask while you're on the beach, especially now that summertime is coming and things are getting hotter now. People want to go and sunbathe on the beach. I think it's a bit silly that we have police patrolling the areas. I understand when it comes to breaking up large crowds, but for people who are sunbathing maybe with a significant other or by themselves, to be wearing a face mask on the beach at all times is somewhat ridiculous in my opinion. And
I'm really worried about the tan lines
that
we're going to have on our faces soon as well.
Yeah, no.
It also reminds me of another story we had yesterday where a warden fined someone €100 after that person caught the warden driving one way. So it's just interesting to see as well how people with their phones are kind of, when they're in this sort of situation, they feel quite empowered to take photos, take videos, and hopefully that gives us more of an understanding of what happens in the case. Move on to the next story. So yesterday, a former police officer was arrested on allegations that he leaked information from the Daphne Caruana Galizia investigation. As we know, this issue of leaks from the Daphne Caruana Galizia investigation has been with us for quite a while. Most of the people who have been arrested have declared that they knew they were going to be arrested, that they knew who was going to arrest them, that they knew when it was going to happen, and they felt very protected throughout this whole process. But yesterday we heard of this officer called Raymond Aquilina, who used to work at the Economics Crimes Unit under Ian Abdullah. And we've heard his name twice before, once in the recordings of Melvin Thomas recordings in court. So there was Jürgen Fenech telling Melvin Thoma, it's fine, Ray will carry out the arrest, Duck all right, we can trust him. And in fact, a different officer ended up arresting Melvin Thoma, and because it wasn't Ray, Melvin Thoma confessed. So this is a really important case, because if it wasn't for this change in arrest, then probably we wouldn't know everything we know about the murder of Daphne Caruana Galizia. Another time we heard from Raymond Aquilina was in the public inquiry, where he said that he did a number of investigations into the Panama Papers and 17 Black and produced these reports, gave them to his superior Ian Abdullah, and never heard from them again. So now we know that this person was arrested. We need to see whether he's going to be charged. We need to see who else is going to be arrested, because as we know, there's been quite a wide network of leaks in this case. And a little update this morning as well in terms of the extradition of Adrian Hillman on the case of money laundering involving Keith Kembry and Progress Press. There's been some hiccups in the extradition process. It's already taken a few weeks. We'll update you on that later today. Keep following lovinmalta.com.
Absolutely. Moving to our last story, the Planning Authority has ordered one man to bring down the makeshift shrine at the top of the world in Gargur. So if you've frequented the area often, you definitely walk past this iconic makeshift shrine taken care of by one man known as Ronnie Gauchi. Chris, I think you're very familiar with the story, but what I understand from it is that the Planning Authority's Compliance and Enforcement Directorate have ordered him to remove the legal structure because it didn't have, it was without development permission. And I mean, out of all things that happens in Malta with Planning Authority and that is done illegally and all the other issues, it seems like the Planning Authority are adamant on, you know, addressing or targeting these small, you know, shrines and or whether it's in Duck Village, Cat Village and whatnot. These are the ones that seem to get targeted and enforcement actually seems to happen.
Yeah, strong with the weak and weak with the strong, right? So yeah, this is top of the world in Gargour, a very nice trail, and I actually walk that trail very, very regularly, and I've seen over the years this elderly man, you know, with a cement bucket in hand, creating this sort of rock garden for everyone to enjoy. And it's really gone a little bit overboard, to be honest. I mean, there's a full-on pond, you know, with goldfish and the whole shebang, and you know, different plants being planted and whatnot. It is really nice. It's quite sweet, you know, and it's nice to see this guy taking that action. But clearly, you know, some people reported this case, and the Planning Authority took action. Sadly, this guy is having to break down this rock garden he built himself over many years, taking it down himself or facing fines from the Planning Authority. I kind of see both sides to this, you know, because on the one hand, he's a really sweet guy. He's done a lot of work, and you know, at the same time, you can't just go, you know, putting cement all over a natural area. You know, it's probably not a good idea to plant alien species and to put goldfish in the Garrigue rock. But, you know, it had a huge reaction yesterday because of these double standards, right? With the Planning Authority, there's this feeling that if you're a rich business person, if you're paying up, then you can do whatever you like. And if you're a small guy just trying to make your area a little bit nicer, you're forced to take it down. That brings us to the end of the first part of Lovin Daily. We'll now cut to a clip from Gaia Cauchi's The Message, a really cool song by the young starlet who just got signed. So JP will be interviewing her after we watch the short clip.
I loved you then, but I don't love no more. And I held your hand, but you showed me the door. You stoop so low. So this is my message to you. I hope that you find someone new, but don't call my name.
Welcome back to Lovin Daily. We're now joined by Gaia Cauchi, the former junior Eurovision star and the starlet behind tracks like Message, Over You and Why Should I. Gaia, thank you so much for joining us today. You're most welcome. You recently just signed a major publishing deal with US-based company Cobalt Music and Prolific Songs, correct?
Yes.
Tell us a bit more about what that means. What is a publishing deal, and like what can we expect from you from that?
So basically, I'd like to let people know that these things don't happen overnight. I met a guy over 2 years ago, and now he is my manager. Obviously we've been working on many songs, and of course there are songs which haven't been released yet to the public that we went to record labels with them, and we're always looking for new things. Of course some things just don't work out, of course, but Prolific Songs approached me, and they gave me this deal, and we thought that it was the perfect deal. So basically, they get me sessions with songwriters and with producers for production of the songs and of course for the lyrics. I write songs sometimes myself too, alone, but it's always better to have the second opinion.
Right.
Right now, currently the sessions are happening over Zoom, so it's been very difficult. I cannot wait for things to calm down so I can be going abroad. But yes, there are big plans.
So what are some of those plans? Can we expect, a Gaia EP or an album to come out sometime soon?
Yes, we are working on an EP. It's going to have 6 songs or 5. We're not sure yet because we're not sure on a song yet. But yes, it will be coming out in the next couple of months.
Amazing, and I imagine with this publishing deal, your song won't just come out in Malta; it'll be,
Exactly.
be distributed globally,
yes,
right? I know that you mentioned before they have offices in Hong Kong, London, all around the world. So it really helped to get your name out there. I mean, you most recently released a song called "Message," and it really was a showcase of you as a musician and in front of the camera. It was really kind of bombastic and really emotional track that I think a lot of people related to. Was that something that you drew from your personal life, that some personal experiences you went through? Because it seemed the track was obviously about a breakup and whatnot. Is that something that was personal to you?
So basically, I wrote the song around 2-3 years ago with Sean Farrugia. He's currently working with Sagala and with amazing artists. And I, back at that time, I hadn't gone through something similar, so I didn't want to release the song. Of course, I never knew that it was actually happen, but I released the song this year because I felt like I could actually relate to it, and I want my music to be raw, and I want it to be emotional, and I want to relate to my music myself, so people can relate to them.
Absolutely, I think that message came across, amazingly with the song. Again, it was very emotional. Even listening to it myself, I could feel the emotion coming out. And the music video as well was a masterpiece. And you mentioned you wrote it 3 years ago, and I imagine you have a library of songs that you're just sitting on, waiting to be released. But I want to ask, over the past year, it's been absolutely crazy with COVID-19, and I think more so being a full-time musician. What has life been like, day to day as a musician? Obviously, you can't perform live. You haven't had the luxury to do that. Are you working every day on new songs, new projects? How does it look like to be a musician during this time?
Honestly, it's been hell, because it's like you're taking away a kid's toy, literally, because it's something we do on a daily, and I do on a daily, and I can't sing anywhere, I can't perform, I don't have shows, no concerts. But I haven't stopped working. Again, I have been working on my own songs. But yes, it's been rough, and there's no income, of course, since it's my full-time job. No gigs, nothing, but you have to keep on going.
Do you think we'll see some gigs happen over the summer? Do you think, is that your hope? Like, what do you think of this whole domestic vaccine passport we've been talking about? Do you think it's a good idea for people?
I really, really genuinely hope so. It's very important. I feel like now, of course, it's good to stay safe, but people are starting to get a bit fed up, I think.
Absolutely, and we're hoping that everyone gets vaccinated by June and tourists come over summer. I think it's being a musician. Summer, it tends to be your, I imagine, busiest time of the year. So
you're going to be meeting people. You're going to be going abroad, hopefully.
Do you have any plans to go abroad? Like any tours? Obviously you signed this publishing deal, so your opportunities are endless. Are there anything in the works for you to maybe take your talents elsewhere and into a more international crowd?
I to be honest, this COVID thing had me really thinking about moving abroad.
Where would you go?
To the UK.
To the UK?
London, yes.
To London?
Yes. Simply because it would be much easier for me to work on my music, as in they have huge studios, plenty of songwriters to work with. I love working with Maltese people, I love them all.
But it's hard here.
But it's very hard here. I feel like if you don't try to move out of Malta, you're just gonna be stuck here. Of course, I love Malta, and I wouldn't imagine my summer filled with rain. But I feel like it would be a very important step in my career.
So you might see it's obviously super hard in normal circumstances to just be a full-time musician here, but obviously it's harder now that the pandemic's here. And this week there was a bit of a controversy, you know, when Culture Minister Jose Herrera said, said that musicians don't have the business IQ, and whatnot. I mean, what do you make of those comments? I mean, you personally, obviously, I think you're quite entrepreneurial. You've done a good job at positioning yourself, to be quite successful. But what do you make of these comments? I mean, it's quite disheartening, right? Imagine as a local musician to see that all your work and stuff isn't perhaps appreciated enough, and especially when there's no kind of roadmap for when things can go back. I think
I feel, of course, hearing that comment was very disheartening, but no comment like that ever from anyone. I feel like us artists, we work so hard, and to be creative, you have to have a very high IQ,
Absolutely.
But no, of course, I don't agree with what was said, because I feel like everything you look at, wherever you are, it's been done creatively by someone who has a big imagination, and of course it was sad to hear, because we put in a lot of work in the things we do.
Absolutely. You aren't just a musician as well. At one point you were part of that Clubhouse Europe, and they had recently had some controversy with that whole legal party that happened. Are you still a member of Clubhouse? And if not, like what happened there?
No, I'm not still a member of Clubhouse. Nothing bad happened. I love them endlessly. It's just TikTok takes a lot of time from your day. And of course, people think that you just set your phone in front of you and you just do a TikTok. It takes a lot of time. You have to think, you have to create creatively again. You're putting yourself out to the public. You're letting people criticize you. It takes it leaves a big impact on your mental health, of course, because people.
So it was a way for you to kind of step back and focus on yourself?
I wanted to focus more on my music.
On your music,
because I was giving too much time to TikTok rather than to writing my songs, and of course I'm a singer and I wanted to focus on that. Of course, TikTok and any other social media, I love doing it, but of course the music is the main priority.
Right, it's your passion at the end of the day. Yes. So what does a day look for you like now? Are you just writing all day? Is there business meetings? Like, what is a day life in life for a musician right now?
At the moment, I can only speak for myself. It's just Zoom calls, honestly.
With songwriters and whatnot, yeah.
Yes, sometimes they work out insanely well, sometimes they just don't, because you never know who you're going to be working with. It's the first time you meet the people you're going to work with on the Zoom call. But in my case, it's just Zoom calls and sometimes rehearsals for weddings and stuff, because hopefully things will open up again.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, weddings are a huge stream of revenue, right, for local musicians. So let's hope that the summer things start to go back somewhat to normal. You're obviously the former junior Eurovision winner. We now have the Eurovision coming up very soon, and Destiny will be representing Malta. Do you have a message for her, a message of inspiration or encouragement or some advice that you would give her? Because as I'm sure you're aware, Malta is in the lead to win this year, so it's a pretty big deal.
Yes, for sure. It would be insane if Malta could win the Eurovision for the first time, and honestly, I think that Destiny has the potential to do it. She has a great, big, huge voice that it's very rare to find. Obviously, I don't think I can give her much advice, because what I did, she did as well. But of course, I wish her the best of luck. I support her always on social media and
Amazing.
here and there. But yes, I do believe that Malta has a big chance to.
And it would help us so much for recognition and bringing people,
For sure.
putting us on the map, right? When it
For
comes to
sure.
musical talent and stuff. I think it's great that musicians out here are supporting themselves. That there's a community that stands up for each other, and now an association that recently established. It's hopefully, fingers crossed, things start to get better, and then this
really
publishing
hope so.
deal for you, really takes off, because it's a great position to be in, and obviously you possess some great musical talent. Is there any last message you'd like to leave, maybe to the fans out there and everything that are rooting for you?
I would like to say thank you to everyone that stuck around, because honestly, sometimes people think that whoever is on social media things don't affect them, but of course we're like any other human being. So I really appreciate it, and I love when people message me and they speak to me like I'm a normal human being, because at the end of the day I am.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I would like to thank everyone for always supporting me, for always sharing my music, and for always being there. Thank you.
Gaia, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been
Thank
a pleasure
you for the
to talk to you. And for everyone that tuned in, have a day full of lovin'.